Okay, let's get into audience questions for the week, starting with what do you think would be Trump's most likely October surprises to try to win the election? So before we get into this, there's the idea is common that October surprises don't really work. I'm not so sure about that. If you look at James Comey's decision to do a second Hillary Clinton press briefing at the very tail end of the 2016 election. I mean, there were so many factors that affected that election, but it's hard to say that that had no impact. When you look at George W. Bush's bin Laden speech and announcements right before the 2004 election, in which he was narrowly reelected, arguably with a small victory in the state of Ohio, although there were some allegations of foul play there in Ohio. I don't know that we can write off an October surprise. Now, that being said, when more people vote by mail early, it does diminish the possible impact of an October surprise, changing the outcome of any state, for example, or of the total election, because there are fewer people left to vote, right? The more, if 50% vote before October 15, and it's not going to happen, but imagine, then what happens between October 15 and the election can only possibly impact half of the electorate instead of the entire thing. Now, all of that being put aside, I still think that an announcement about a vaccine from Donald Trump sometime in October is going to be the move, so to speak. And I've already said, if indeed a vaccine is approved in October, and let's not, there are people who write to me and they say, if there is a vaccine approved in October, I would be worried it's not really safe. That's not really my concern. I don't think Trump is going to announce a vaccine that's not actually been approved. I think Trump's going to try to take credit for that vaccine announcement when it will have nothing whatever to do with him. It could be a vaccine developed in the UK, for example, the Oxford vaccine, which is being discussed. It could be a vaccine that has been around or in development for some time for poultry coronavirus, which has now been modified, which could be the one. That doesn't seem like it. But the point is, none of it would have anything to do with Donald Trump. And yet he will announce it as if it is his accomplishment. And I used the term Monday. Some people liked it. I fear that because of the portion of the audience that's intellectually compromised, I fear it could actually swing a little bit of the vote. So that's my top. If you say, what would you bet on if you had to bet on what the October surprise would be? It would be Trump trying to take credit for a vaccine or some kind of really effective treatment, for example, if one is found. Beyond that, there's the old faithful ideas of some kind of conflict. This is kind of chaos PR. Usually it's a foreign conflict that's used to justify reelecting the president we have, not changing horses midstream. With Trump, he seems to think that it's generating chaos within American cities that is going to be good for him. And whether he would scale that up in October, we don't know. Whether it actually helps him is not really clear. I think it's certainly possible that it activates some of his key constituents, but we are going to have to wait on that. Now, again, I mentioned earlier that there's going to be more of mail-in voting, absentee ballots, than there typically are, and that could reduce the power of a possible October surprise. The other side of it is that messing with the voting itself could be the October surprise. It wouldn't necessarily be done in public, although hopefully we would figure it out. The trouble with Trump lying all the time is that no one believes you eventually, and thus there could be the possibility that Trump comes up with some new Obamagate, or Trump makes a claim about a virus treatment or whatever, and nobody will care because nobody will believe it, or at least not enough people will. Miracle cure, who knows what it could be. The real surprise would be him figuring out a way to secretly mess with the election that we don't detect. And the surprise is everybody thinks there's no surprise when in reality he's finding new and novel ways to mess with the election. That's what I'm most scared of, followed by just taking credit for a vaccine and some people actually giving him credit for it.